We might kick off. Everyone ready to go? Yep. Okay. Mount Isa Council acknowledges the Kalkadoon and Injalindji people, traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Recording of the council meeting. Please note this special meeting of Mount Isa City Council may be live streamed and recorded in accordance with council's recording of council meetings policy. As a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in chambers, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is inadvertently broadcast. Do I have any apologies or leave of absence?
I think Councillor Doyle is advising.
Yeah, Councillor Doyle has rung up. He's had a clash and he will try and get here later. Do I need to move that he's going to be late, or we just... Righto. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest? No? Okay, so I'm going to start off by reading the budget speech. Obviously, that's the primary piece on the agenda today. Good morning, everyone. It is my honour to present Mount Isa City Council's budget for the 25-26 financial year. This year, we have put together a budget that is keenly aware of and takes into consideration the economic uncertainty that Mount Isa faces as a result of the upcoming underground copper mine closure and potential future smelter issues. While we are confident that these will be resolved, we recognise this lingering uncertainty does place great stress on households and businesses moving forward. It is always Council's intention to keep rates as low as possible, particularly for principal place of residence. Our strategy as a council is to encourage people to work and invest where they live. We also recognise the importance of the city sporting groups, as well as volunteers who help run them, and the often unseen and unappreciated work they do that's such a vital aspect of community cohesion. We are pleased to earlier in the year launch our Future Ready Economy Roadmap. We will continue to access the $6.8 million from the state government's Mount Isa Transition Fund to use to progress the projects outlined in the roadmap to help diversify and strengthen Mount Isa's economy going forward. $1 million of the Mount Isa Transition Fund went towards the Mount Isa Rodeo, and we as a council have been pleased that we were in a position to support that. The rodeo is a great community event that puts us on the map and brings great economic development for the town. The total budget for the upcoming financial year is $125.9 million, with a capital works program of $26.9 million, $11.1 million of which will be funded by grants from the state and federal government, representing 41% of the program. The capital works program includes $5 million for water mains network reconfiguration works, $2.74 million for the construction of Stage 1 of the John Campbell Miles Lookout, $1.8 million for Stage 2 of the PCNP shared footpath on 4th Avenue, $1.3 million for road resurfacing and rejuvenation works, and $1.1 million for culvert, stormwater and drainage repairs. There is $2.4 million in carryover capital works projects from 2024-25, including $400,000 for the Miles Street car park and EV charging station, $110,000 for the Ryan Road sewerage extension, and $200,000 for the road culvert rehabilitation works. We also have significant investment in disaster management, with a $400,000 upgrade of the evacuation centre kitchen at Buchanan Park, as well as $400,000 for digital illuminated flood warning signs. Both of these projects are fully funded through government grants. We are committed to continuing to get projects like these off the ground by looking and applying for funding as it becomes available. This year we were pleased to begin holding rural ratepayers meetings. We have made a strong commitment to the Mount Isa rural residents in terms of biosecurity, feral animal management and truck washdown facilities. In this budget we have committed a total of $300,000 or $150,000 each in capital works expenditure for the upgrade of both the Mount Isa and the Camberwell Stockyard facilities. Council is committed to actively pursuing Queensland and federal government funding opportunities for its capital works program. Another key project that we're looking for funding for is the Mount Isa Mines Workers Memorial. Although we've expended the money so far in previous budgets and there is no funding allocated in this budget going forward, We will be seeking support to progress this project, both to commemorate the people that have given their lives in service of our town and for the city beautification, livability, and somewhere of interest for tourists to visit. Services and operating costs this year are $97.6 million, and there will be an operational deficit of $2.3 million. The general rates for a typical residential property that's a primary place of residence will increase overall by 3.2%. Water charges overall will reduce by 0.9%, while sewer charges will increase by 3.9% and waste charges by 7.3%. Mount Isa City Council is responsible for maintaining, upgrading and repairing $1 billion worth of infrastructure in Mount Isa, which is why we're committed to continually seeking funding for these vital works. I'm also pleased to see that as an organisation, Council is putting a strong focus on improving staff retention and stability, as that's how we create value, through people being engaged and striving to do the best for our community and living the Mount Isa City Council values of integrity, service and accountability. I would like to thank the council team comprising of councillors, the executive management team and council staff for all the hard work they've done in putting together this year's budget. Thank you. So we'll now move on to the executive services reports. That is item 4.1. Do I have a mover for item 4.1, Operational Plan 2025-2026?
Yeah, I'll just move that Council adopts the Operational Plan 2025-2026 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Crowther. Do I have a seconder for the motion?
Seconded, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone like to speak to that?
Just quickly, I mean, obviously a lot of work's been put into this, so it's great that we've been able to now move this and approve it. As we'll see, the graphic design will come out, but it'll give the council staff a clear plan on where we were going to go forward to for 2026.
Okay. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Corporate services reports, item 5.1. Do I have a mover for the proposed 2025-2026 fees and charges?
I'd like to move that Council adopts the 2025-26 Register of Commercial Fees and Charges as presented in the 2025-26 annual budget, and that Council adopts the 2025-26 Register of Cost Recovery Fees Register as presented in the 2025-26 annual budget.
Thank you, Councillor Ballard. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thanks.
Councillor Tully.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Would anyone like to speak to that?
I think the only thing I'd really say is that with the opportunity of having been in council 18 months, there's been a lot more time and a lot more opportunity for both councillors and council officers to work to streamline these fees and charges, and I think most of these increases are both acceptable and pragmatic.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favour? Carried. Do I have a mover for 5.2, Financial Year 2025-2026 Investment Policy?
I'd like to move that Council adopts the Financial Year 2025-26 Investment Policy as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Ballard. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Crowther? Did you want to comment, Councillor? Anyone? All in favour? Carried. Do I have a mover for 5.3, Financial Year 2025-2026 Debt Policy?
I'd like to move that Council adopts the Financial Year 2025-26 Debt Policy as presented.
Do I have a seconder for the motion?
Seconded, Deputy.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Would anyone like to speak to that? No?
Any comments?
All in favour? Carried. Do I have a mover for 5.4, Competitive Neutrality Complaint Management Policy?
That the Council adopts the Competitive Neutrality Complaint Management Policy version 4 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Ballard. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, Councillor Coghlan.
Councillor James Coghlan. Would anyone like to speak? All in favour? You in favour, Councillor Coghlan?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Thank you. Carried. Okay, now it's time where we actually adopt the formal budget. So I'm going to throw to Councillor Ballard to move the motion for 5.5, the 2025-2026 annual budget.
The annual budget in our docs on tap is a lot briefer than this one.
Oh, this is the one the script we need to do for today, sorry.
Thought I might be able to get out of it.
Sorry, Dean.
I'd like to move that council adopts the 2025-26 revenue statement in accordance with sections 1692B and 172 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 as presented, and that council adopts the differential rating categories to apply in 2025-26 to land within the Mount Isa City Council local government area in accordance with sections 81.1 and 81.2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 as presented below. And that council adopts the following rating categories: cents in $1 and minimum general rates for the 2025-26 financial year as presented below. And that council adopts the following utility charges for the 2025-26 financial year as presented below. And that council adopts the following separate rates and charges for the 2025-26 financial year as presented below. And that council adopts the following special rates and charges for the 2025-26 financial year as presented below. And that council resolves in accordance with section 129 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to allow ratepayers to pay all rates and charges other than utility charges for water consumption by instalments as follows. A. The periods for payment of each instalment of the rates and charges is quarterly, namely 1 July 2025 to 30 September 2025, 1 October 2025 to 31 December 2025, 1 January 2026 to 31st March 2026, and 1 April 2026 to 30 June 2026. And the corresponding due date for payment of each quarterly instalment is 1 September 2025, 3 November 2025, 2 February 2026, and 4 May 2026, respectively. And a failure to pay a quarterly instalment by the due date of payment renders that instalment of rates and charges overdue and subject to the imposition of interest as determined by the council pursuant to section 133 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. And the council adopts that interest is payable on overdue rates and charges from the day the rates and charges become overdue and will be calculated at 12.12% per annum on daily balances and as compounded interest in accordance with section 133 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. And the council adopts the total value of the change expressed as a percentage in the rates and utility charges levied for the financial year compared with the rates and utility charges levied in the previous budget in accordance with sections 169 of the Local Government Act 2009 for the financial year 2025-26, and the change is 3.2%. And the council adopts the general differential rate increase for a principal place of residence for residential properties for the 2025-26 financial year is 8.8%. And that council adopts the 2025-26 statutory budget documents comprising the Statement of Income and Expenditure, Statement of Changes in Financial Position, Statement of Cash Flow, Statement of Changes in Equity, and relevant measures of financial sustainability in accordance with Section 169 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. And that council adopts the 2025 to 2035 long-term financial forecast in accordance with Section 169 of the Local Government Regulation Council 2012. And that council receives and accepts the 2024-25 significant business activities in accordance with sections 18, 19, 20 and 169 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. And the council adopts to not apply the Code of Competitive Conduct for its business type activities for 2025-26 in accordance with sections 39 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 and section 47 of the Local Government Act. Given the level of expenditure in the business activities and the little or no competition for the services provision, councils see no public benefit in applying the Code of Competitive Conduct at this time. And the council receives and accepts the 2024-25 estimated activity statement in accordance with section 34 of the Local Government Regulation 2012.
Thank you, Councillor Ballard.
Done well, mate.
I would like to second that motion. And now is the opportunity for us to go around and everyone can say their bit to do with their portfolio within the budget. So would you like to speak,
That
Councillor
would be-
Ballard?
I feel
Or
like
did you want to go last?
I feel like I've said a bit. I probably need to wet my throat. But no, look, we all know that this is going to be a really challenging year for our community, and there's been a lot of hours spent trying to craft a budget that minimises Mount Isa City Council's impact on already strained household budgets. Councillors and council staff are committed to improving service delivery standards and increasing our fiscal discipline as we actively work to execute the business of council. That 41% of our capital budget will be funded through state and federal grants is a pleasing result, but this is an area of continued focus, and we'll aim to do better into the future and reduce the burden that is felt by our rate base. For me, looking through a financial lens of the capital works budget in the upcoming year, the money that will be spent around water mains network reconfiguration is a particularly important piece of work that's not only going to help us reduce our maintenance costs, but will also reduce the excessive wear and tear on our ageing water infrastructure, and hopefully we'll see a reduction in the number of water leaks that are an ever-present reminder that the infrastructure we're working with is ageing and deteriorating. As we work on not only attracting but retaining high quality staff, I'd like to welcome the 2 new directors, both of corporate service and infrastructure services. I'm absolutely sure that their addition to our team will see those standards, those service delivery standards improve, and also our financial performance improve. But I guess just in closing, I'd like to say that this budget probably isn't all the way there, but I think it certainly represents a giant step in the right direction as we as a council mature and have more opportunity to bed in those practices and impose our priorities on this council. And I'd like to thank everyone for the work that they've put in. And again, we're not quite there, but I think it's a big step forward from where we were last year. And I think by the time we hand down our 4th budget, we'll be getting pretty close to where we want to be.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Ballard. Councillor Crowther?
Yeah, I just obviously in the economic and development, tourism and events, so pleased to see that we're sort of looking towards investing heavily into sort of some events to obviously increase tourism to Mount Isa. I think it's a vital part of our economic development and sort of extending our reach to all the different communities out there. I mean, the more we can bring people to Mount Isa, the more money it's going to bring through to all our businesses, which will have a flow on to all the sporting events and stuff like that. Economic development, obviously we're investing heavily into that again. It's part of, obviously, with the downturn with the mines, that we really got to work in on that. So pleased that we've sort of really sort of focused in on the economic development as well as tourism to sort of really into this budget and working forward. Congratulate the team on an effort that they've done with presenting this budget. I mean, obviously it's been a lot of meetings and a lot of sort of back and forth, so we've sort of come to an agreement, and I think we're happy that we've sort of had still a slight increase in that budget, but we've been able to sort of going to be able to produce a lot of events coming forward for the coming year.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tully?
My portfolio includes works in engineering, water and sewage. The transport infrastructure development scheme, the TIDDS, is 950,000. We've spent, and we hopefully get 475,000 from state funding. Again, matched with the 475 for council. Council continues to work with the state government into share funding costs for rural roads for the transport infrastructure development scheme. We're hoping to. There seems to be quite an issue with the sewer odour treatment around Mount Isa, so we're spending 500,000 on that, trying to eradicate that problem, especially down in Stinky Creek. The major network configuration is $500 million to remove the pumping direct into the waterworks. So what happens with the water that goes into the mains is, at the moment, it starts and stops, so we're hopefully trying, and which creates wear and tear quicker with the water going, starting and stopping, and so we're hoping to spend $5 million in making sure that the water is a standard flow, so to eliminate these leaks, which Dan's already elaborated on. There's just leaks all over town, and hopefully we're getting to the bottom of 'em, and with the new directors, this hopefully will be sorted out in the near future. The Duchess Road, we're hoping to have water down right through to the Spreadborough Estate. $740,000 is getting spent this year. We'll hopefully have water right down to the end of Spreadborough by within the coming couple of years. The road recovery on Mansky Road, which is off Duchess Road there, going to the lake, we've got $280,000 directed towards reconstruction of that road along those properties, those rural properties that are off the Lake Road, Rhine Road. And the reservoir replacement for Reservoir 3 is just for the design phase is $50,000.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Tully. Councillor Coghlan?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I think we've improved and during our time in council here, and I think we'll keep pushing to improve. And we've questioned the budget, and I think things are tightening up, and we're becoming more efficient. And the makeup and desire of this council, or the members of this council, to ask hard questions and disagree respectfully, is allowing us to move forward, I think, after a bit of stagnation in previous years. For me, we need to do more for the community, but there's that, as I've been sitting here for the last 18 months, getting that balance right between what's needed and what we can provide is a delicate balancing act. But for me, we're not just talking about our time in council, we're trying to set our town up for the future, like the next 20 years, not just now. And I think everybody sitting around this chamber has children here who are going to grow up in this town. So we wanted to see it continue to grow, and I think this council and this budget is the first steps in trying to put in a bedrock foundation so that our town can improve and be great again. And not just in the next, it's going to take more than this term, but we need to put the foundations in so that we're still the great town that we are now in 20 years' time. And I think the appointment of Andrew and Kelvin is a great step in that direction. I think they've both shown in their short time that they're going to be a great asset to us. Although I was a bit dirty on Andrew the last week, because I'm pretty sure that those roads out there are harder than they are in town. So your name was cursed a couple of times.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Deputy Mayor?
I'd just like to say thank you to the staff, all the staff that readied the budget, and pardon me, and also to John Perry for his work that he's done on it. We have had a hard 18 months, and this has been a better budget than the first one because we had a lot more time, which is really good. The only way we can go is we can just keep going forward. I was a bit disappointed in the budget that there weren't enough to put more people in parks and gardens. I think we need more feet on the ground there. They look after parks, medium strips, CBD and the cemetery. They get events ready. They do the pack up and the set down. And there's only a small group of them, and I think they do a good job with the amount of people they have. But the operational plan, while it's a good operational plan, I think as councillors and to the executive staff, we have to make sure it's worked. It's not just sitting on a shelf and not doing anything. It has to be a working document. And last but not least, I look forward to working with the new two directors that are here.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. We'll now vote. All in favour of handing down the budget? That is carried. So we'll now move into confidential. The reports listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 254J of the Local Government Regulation 2012, 6.1 Asset Sale and Optional Lease of the Batching Plant. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 254JG of the Local Government Regulation, and the Council is satisfied that discussion on this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest as it deals with negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public discussion would be would likely be would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government. Can I have a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Deputy.
Thank you, councillor Coghlan. We'll now move into,
All in favour?
oh, yes, all in favour?
Yep.
Sorry, I took that one as a given. I should not do that. closed council into open council. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Deputy.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. All in favour? Carried. Okay, do I have a mover for item 6.1, asset sale and optional lease of batching plant?
I move that council enters an asset sale agreement with Isaac Quarry Proprietary Limited for the nominal value of $405,000, exclusive of GST, for the council's batching plant, vehicles and equipment, and delegated authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate the finalise the agreement.
Thank you, Councillor Crowther. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded, Deputy Coghlan.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. All in favour? Carried. There being no further agenda items, the time is now 12 minutes past 10, and I now